Are you tired of bugs, dirty air, and weather? Consider space. There's lots to see. It's pet friendly, and you'll sleep happily in your hermetically sealed pods. And most importantly, none of that pesky air to have qualities. If this sounds appealing to you, it's an intense, long training process, and I suggest you contact Elon Musk on Twitter, and we'll be looking forward to his sarcastic response. All right, good morning, friends. Cameron is still trying to get pulled over, so we're waiting on his video to come in, but we are with you. And, well, we did another one. Woohoo! This morning we're going to be talking about Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, uh, presidential hopeful Joe Biden. It's it should be a good show. So yesterday a thing happened, and buddy, I can't tell you how excited I am about what's going on. I mean, Elon Musk is basically my hero, man. He's Tony Stark, he's Bruce Wayne, he is a wealthy man who, well, let's face it, a privately wealthy man is solving problems that were created by Barack Obama. So let's start with what happened yesterday. Trump and Biden hail SpaceX's Crew One astronaut launch success for NASA. This is from MSN, Microsoft News from about 6 hours ago. And so a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launched a Crew Dragon capsule Sunday evening from Florida, kicking off the company's Crew One mission to the International Space Station. Guys, we have a private businessman putting our NASA astronauts on the moon, or I'm sorry, on the space station. We
Not the moon
sending
yet.
Not the moon yet, sending our NASA astronauts out. We have a private businessman doing what the government no longer can. And the government no longer can because Barack Obama made it a point. I, I don't know what the. I'm going to speculate a bit. But Obama made it a
Please.
point to cripple NASA. And that doesn't surprise us. Alex
It's a little.
Jones Alex
Well, it's a
Jones
little.
called his hang on, Cameron. Alex Jones called his website early on was Prison Planet. And he rails about the globalists and the like. And you know, we've learned that you can't always take Alex Jones entirely seriously, but he's very seldom actually wrong on the key details, on the key facts of a claim. Usually where Alex Jones goes off the deep end is when he starts to speculate and bloviate about assumptions that are not supported by facts. Now, when when we talk about Barack Obama, though, Obama hated America. He hated the idea of American exceptionalism. He hated the idea of America achieving anything. But I think even more to the point, because Obama was a globalist and an authoritarian, a dictator, or at least he wanted to be. We will be ready to rule from day one. Yeah, well, it sure is hard to rule. The bigger the territory, the harder to rule. So, what more appealing thing could there possibly be to a globalist with dictatorial aspirations than an actual prison planet? He was terrified by the idea of us reaching out into space and colonizing. I mean, he wrote books about the evils of colonization. And let's just be clear on something. Colonization does not necessarily mean that you go to a place where there are already people and conquer them. There were actions of colonization where Hey, it's an island that nobody's ever been on before. There's no signs of life except for the indigenous wildlife. There's no people, no tribe. Let's establish Tortuga. Um, Steve says all I can hear is that one kid's voice. I hate Bronco Obama.
Well,
Bronco Obama.
I think your speculation isn't too far off because Obama had no problem spending money. He had no problem spending money on worthless scientific concepts. Um, but it's the exceptionalism in particular, and uh, NASA is one of the absolute best exemplars of this. And could argue it's one of the few things the government ever got right. Uh, so, no, we can't have that. And then you roll that into everything that went alongside NASA. The whole thing about the moon race and all that, it wasn't just that we figured out how to go to the moon and come back. It was everything else we had to figure out before we could figure out how to go to the moon and come back. You know, it's the old joke about Velcro. Well, you could thank NASA because they had to find a way to make things sticky without gravity. And there you go.
Velcro. Tang. Microwave ovens. Well, no, the microwave oven was a cell phone technician with a hot dog, but still, he got too close to an antenna one day and his lunch was warm.
Oh, that was interesting.
Invented the microwave oven and got scared. Not a cell phone technician. It was before cell phones,
Yeah.
but a radio tower. But yeah, radio waves. Like, oh, I'm too close to this high powered antenna. Never gonna have children again. Hmm. So let's take a quick look. Yes, it's 2020, and yes, this is an article from 2017. How Barack Obama ruined NASA space exploration. And okay, before I get too much further into this, Donald Trump has gotten a lot of criticism from lefties and from the right about how much the national debt has increased under his watch. Guys, the national debt has increased by uh, about $5 or $6 trillion under Donald Trump's watch. And I hear people, oh, well, you guys were all mad about Obama running up the national debt, and you don't say anything about Donald Trump running up the national debt. The national debt under Donald Trump has increased at a rate of roughly what it costs to service the national debt that was left by Barack Obama. The national debt under Barack Obama was increased dramatically more than the cost of its service. Basically, Obama ran the debt up so high, he literally tripled the existing national debt. He took the total national debt, which remained from all presidents previously combined, and tripled it in one presidential term. So no, I don't get bent around the horn about the national debt going up under Donald Trump because what has happened is the service on the interest on the national debt has become so high as a result of Barack Obama's reckless spending policies that what the hell is he supposed to do? There are things that can be done and there are things that could have been done better, but the idea that anybody else would have been in the office and reduced the debt against the weak economy that Obama left behind and the extraordinary cost of servicing the existing debt, which is a direct result of Obama era policies. I'm not bent around the corner about Donald Trump increasing the debt by $4 or $5 or $6 trillion. It's unfortunate, but it's not a result of Trump's activities. It's a result of, I mean, this one's not. There's not an argument here, right? There is no rebuttal to this. Obama tripled the debt, tripled it to 21 or 22 trillion dollars. The interest on that alone is more than the the increase in spending of over any programs. And remember, when we're talking about Trump, we're talking about the first and only administration to actively reduce regulations over the course of the administration.
Well, not only that, but I mean, a good bit of this is because of this year. Kind of had a huge drop off in economic activity. And then we decided we were just going to throw money out of helicopters and send everybody a check. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
uh,
that's so ridiculous. You don't throw money out of helicopters. You throw commies out of helicopters.
yes, I like your plan.
One of the tasks that the President Donald Trump has before him, remember, this is an article from 2017, along with revamping immigration and trade, repealing and replacing Obamacare, and rebuilding the military, is restoring America's space exploration program in its former glory. Real quick on repealing and replacing Obamacare. When I when I speak to the oncologist and he says he's going to cut a cancer out of me, I don't ask him what he's going to replace it with.
Right? I hate that, man. That's surrendering to the enemy there. When you use their language that way, you let them set the table. No, 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 no. Thank you.
Um, so I love that all our people in the chat are saying hi to one another. So let me just pause for a moment. Steve's here, Danny's here. Good morning, everybody. Lindsay's here, Krista's here, and there's a half a dozen other people. And then that's on YouTube, and then over on the Facebook, looks like we've got. I can't actually see how many people we have watching on Facebook for some reason. Live now. I'll just go ahead and reshare that and see if we can get some more asses in the seats. No, we want to share that not on East Atlanta Video. We want to go to the Brushfire Mind. That's who we are. And yeah, so Cameron, we were talking a little bit earlier about well, you and I before the show during our show prep. We were talking about how what a wonderful value add it is for a private entity like Elon Musk and the SpaceX programs to be basically fixing Obama's failures. Can you speak to that for a minute?
Well, you know, one of the things that struck me as funny is that Donald Trump is not the only wealthy businessman fixing Obama's fuck ups. And to be fair, I don't think they were fuck ups; they were deliberate. Um, Obama is that sort of Marxist that legitimately feels like America's just had it too good for too long and built on the backs of the poor and all that social justice bullshit. So, so yeah, I mean, he understood completely what the American economy was capable of, and he actively stood in the way of it. So then you have a businessman comes into the office of the presidency and it's like, well, I mean, we don't really need this regulation or that regulation. And then you've got Elon Musk, who does very much have a Tony Stark kind of thing to him. Um, and even like what's going on with Pfizer? Okay, um, the, gonna have a vaccine that's like 90% effective. You know why? And you got the government out of the way. Because that's the thing. The government doesn't really need to solve problems so much as the government needs to stay out of the way and empower the problem solvers. That's what needs to happen. Uh, Stefan Molyneux used to make this great point over and over and over and over again. And God, I miss him on YouTube. Um, but he would say that like if you're really a humanitarian, then capitalism is the way to go. You want guys like Elon Musk to have a disproportionately large share of the available resources because he will use them efficiently, correctly, creatively, and do things like send our astronauts into space. And by the way, that International Space Station, guess who paid for most of fucking that? It's not an international space station. It's an American space station that we let Space UN come to. And fuck, UN, it's in New York. Like, okay, I'm going to bring it down a notch. But yeah, this is just so cool. Like it really really is. And the fact that China's trying to go to the moon, like, if we want to continue exploring space, doing things like this, having it be privatized, and going back to the moon in particular, because we were going to do that, and then Obama came in and said, "Oh, let me be clear, we're not going to do NASA," and cut the budget. And because of, and I'll spare everybody the math, but basically, we need a base on the moon so that we can start launching rockets from the moon.
Well, there have been some great science fiction concepts, and science fiction gives a science fact eventually. Uh, remember the communicators in the first generation of Star Trek?
Oh yeah,
That's
that's your flip phone.
yeah.
And then Star Trek: The Next Generation had your iPads.
Yep. They were called what were they called? PADs, PA personal assistive data device.
Yeah.
Um pad with two D's. Uh but yeah, science fiction gives a science fact. And one of the science fiction concepts that I've always thought was fascinating, and there has been actual private industry research and development into it, although it's a tricky proposition, is the space elevator. The idea being basically you build a space station that's in geosynchronous orbit above the Earth outside of the atmosphere, and there's a cable that you run an elevator up and down, right? And the only thing that's stopping that from having happened already is building a cable, creating a cable that's strong enough to deal with that force. Because it takes nothing once the space station is put there and the cable is there. The idea is that the just the force, the centripetal. I get the two back confused, centripetal versus centrifugal force, but the centripetal force, or whichever one is correct, keeps the space station up as long as it's tethered, and then the tether is used as an elevator cable, and you literally run an elevator up to the space station from the ground to get the parts up there, and you build your rockets and your spacecraft on the space station. And so when you launch a space vehicle, it doesn't have to overcome escape velocity to get out of to break the gravitational force and escape atmosphere, which reduce which eliminates 90% of your initial fuel and energy costs. So once we get there, space exploration becomes a very, very real thing, even to a civilian market that wants to just go to the moon on holiday. Similarly, once we get a base on the moon, you can send a rocket to the moon and you can launch from there. Um, and once all that stuff starts happening, it really changes the game. Now, the research and development that has been involved in trying to get to a sustainable, functional space elevator, um, the one of the big theories on one of the leading theories on how that could be done is what they call a monofilament cable. Basically, you're making a molecule does not necessarily have to be a tiny thing, but it's indestructible once it's a coherent molecule. So basically, they're talking about trying to design a way to make molecules that are miles and miles long, and then braid those miles and miles long molecules into braided cable and use that for the elevator cable. Buddy, if they can crack that nut, the space elevator becomes a thing. You pick a remote spot somewhere around the equator, an island that is designated for the activity. It would necessarily either have to be colonized by a major nation, probably the US, because commies don't do space travel real good. Um, you know, don't let Star Trek lie to you. They still had money, and people would still prefer to spend their money on high quality seafood in New Orleans than to eat out of a flippin' replicator. Your replicator may give you your communist utopia, but people who can figure out a way to spend money are still going to go buy that good gumbo. um, so once you get to where you've got the space elevator up, the next thing you know, we're talking about the city of Luna on the moon's surface as a prison colony that eventually revolts and starts throwing rocks at us.
But yeah, it's
Read more Heinlein.
but yeah, this is such a good thing for so many reasons because guys like Elon Musk, well, they're the ones that give us these innovations. Who cares if he's weird and he launched a Tesla into space on his first flight? I mean,
Where is that, by the way? Where is that Tesla now?
I
Did he
think
get
it's
it
in
back?
Tesla.
Or did he
I
just
don't
leave
think
it
he
out
got
there?
it back. No, I think it was just gone. I think it was just weird flex, bro. But I guess if it's your Tesla, you can do whatever you want. Yes, it is my Tesla, and I can do whatever I want. Yes.
Steve mentions carbon nanotubes. Yes, that was a yes, that was one of the concepts that was that was floated in opposition to the monofilament. But
Yes, yes, yes. They're the for whatever reason the when the carbon is shaped in such a way, it's nigh indestructible. I I remember reading about that and it's just being like, huh, it's origami ish, and
yeah,
yet it works.
so I
Who's the next billionaire that's going to fix another Obama fuck up? Or, or
that's a
are we?
great question because you look at the other billionaires and they're Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg and um what's his name? That that stoner with the bird.
Oh, Jack
Yeah.
Dorsey,
Yeah, Jack Dorsey, the Twitter guy.
the Twitter guy.
The
Hey,
stoner with
loser.
the stoner with the blue bird.
Or are we going to have to endure 4 years of a? I mean, let's just go ahead and call it a Kamala Harris presidency. Um, so the next cycle of billionaires can be incentivized to fix problems.
Yeah, one of the things that we're going to have to focus on for the next 4 years, assuming Trump does lose, because it may not, it doesn't look great right now, guys, but it also ain't over. And there's the fact that Donald Trump put uh, Kavanaugh and Barrett on the Supreme Court, who authored the Bush Gore decision, that that gives me some hope because it feels like everything that's happening now was expected and very, very specific strategic precautions were taken ahead of time. But you know, even my most perfect Merfolk deck can sometimes draw an opening hand that has no lands in it. All the strategy in the world cannot necessarily overcome bad fortune, but it happens. If we
But you
do
play
end up with a Harris administration, then the work that this channel will do for the next 4 years will be we will go out of our way to just keep rubbing it in the face. This is what a Democrat administration looks like. And I will point out as we're doing that, it will not be dramatically different than previous Democrat administrations. It will only be dramatically more severe. They will
Man,
be
and
similar failures, but they will be of a greater magnitude.
yeah, and what an insult if it does go that way. Like, yay, we got the first female POC in the White House.
POS.
Yeah, something like that. Um, and she only did it by riding an older politician to the top.
I like that you left out the coattails.
Well, I mean that was part of the point of the pun. Every time Kamala Harris has ever levered up her career, um, it's been on a man. Like, no kidding,
And
a man.
I mean, there was what was Willie Brown. I mean, apparently she also had a good time with Willie's wife.
Uh, that's not what I heard, but okay. I mean, I could see how that's entirely possible. And look, man, women are pretty things. I don't actually have a problem with a woman using her feminine wiles, but let's be honest, okay? Like
But yeah,
you
if
can't
you're you,
you can't have it both ways. You
right,
can't. Oh yeah, yas queen slay, sure, but you can't pretend like her vagina and her skin tone didn't contribute to why she got what she got. Like,
well, they're the only reason she got where she is. Um, because Joe Biden, before he was even the nominee, said, "I will choose a woman of color for my vice president." That was literally the only attribute, that was the only qualification that was laid out to designate her. And yeah, women are pretty. Women have a particular capacity. They can more easily than a man can use their sexuality to leverage their way up a professional hierarchy. And quite simply, if you don't think that the Hollywood actresses of the Me Too movement were anything other than if you think they were anything other than prostitutes, you're fooling yourselves. They made me sleep with him so I could get this part in the movie. Did you get the part in the movie? Well, yeah. Well,
yeah,
what would have happened if you didn't sleep with him? If you chose to not voluntarily sleep with him? Oh, wouldn't gotten the part. Oh, so you traded your sex for money. You're not a victim. You're a whore.
you might be a whore, but I gotta be honest. How many men would be like, wait, you mean all I gotta do is fuck my boss and I get promoted? Sign me up. But that's unfortunately not at all how it works.
Well, yeah. If we're talking about multi-million dollar acting contract, I might get real friendly. How you doing, sugar?
But yeah, I think this is just a fantastic example of how capitalism is the most humane system of economics. If you truly want to be altruistic, you let the markets work because they work. And you let guys like Elon Musk be Elon Musk. Just period. And by the way, if there is a Harris administration, dude, come on, how long do you think this channel lasts?
Oh well, we might not stay on Facebook and YouTube, but there's always BitChute. There's always Minds. Who knows?
Parlor.
Parlor. Yeah.
Yep.
Um.
By the way, I am the Cam on Parlor.
Oh.
T
I
H
am the
E C A
Brushfire
M.
Mind. I am the Brushfire Mind on Parlor.
Oh
There is no
no,
Christopher Lowry on Parlor. It's just the show.
gotcha. Well, I am the Cam. So,
Hey,
but
my
that's
mom's watching on Facebook. Hi, mom. Good morning. I love you.
nice. Oh, hey, Ma. But yeah, I think that's about all I have got this morning.
All right. I think, yeah, I think that's all I've got too. So, guys, thanks for watching. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Y'all be safe out there.